This video is for numbers 11 through 15. So in 11 through 15, we're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem, which is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Remember that c squared is going to be our hypotenuse. So in number 11, to solve for the missing side x, we would have 17 squared equals 8 squared plus x squared. We would get 289 is equal to 64 plus x squared. We can subtract 64 from both sides, so 225 is equal to x squared. When we take the square root, we get that x is 15. In number 12, this time we're looking for the hypotenuse because it doesn't have a number on it, so that side's going to be our x. So we would have x squared equals 20 squared plus 24 squared. So we get x squared equals 976. When we go take the square root of 976, that's not a perfect square, so we need to simplify our radical. So that would simplify to 4 root 61. Number 13, in order to solve for x, we need to work through the triangles. So we're going to have to start with the triangle that has 15 and 20. So we would have y squared equals 15 squared plus 20 squared. So we get y squared equals 625, which means that y is going to be 25. Now that we know we have 25, we can use the next triangle with 25 and 16. So we have z squared equals 25 squared plus 16 squared. So we would get that z squared is equal to 881. Now 881 is a prime number, so when we take the square root, we're just going to leave it as square root of 881. Now we can use 881 and 21 to finally solve for x. So x squared equals the square root of 881 squared plus 21 squared. So we have x squared equals 1,322. Now there's no, when I do the square root, I have 1,322. There's no pairs of our prime factors, so we're going to leave it as x equals the square root of 1,322. 14, solve for x and y. So in order to solve for x and y, we need to use the right triangle. So we have two right triangles. We have the little right triangle, and we have our bigger right triangle. So we can use our bigger right triangle to solve for x, because we're going to call this whole side down here z, and we're going to solve for z. So 50 squared equals 30 squared plus z squared. 2,500 equals 900 plus z squared. So when we subtract, we get 1,600 equals z squared. Take the square root, and z is 40. So if the whole side is 40, when I subtract 24 from 40, we get that x is 16. So now that I know x, I can solve for y. So y squared equals 30 squared plus 16 squared. So we get that y squared equals 1,156. And when we take the square root, we get that y is 34. In 15, a beam of a length of 30 units stands vertically against the wall. As the top of the beam slides 6 feet down the wall, the bottom of the wall. If the top of the beam slides 6 units down the wall, how far is the bottom from away from the wall? So we have this beam that is 30 long. It was standing up 30, but it slid down 6, so 30 minus 6 means it's now hitting the wall at 24 feet. So we want to solve for how far it's away from the wall. So we have 30 squared equals 24 squared plus x squared. So we get 900 equals 576 plus x squared. So x squared equals 324. And when we take the square root, we get that x is 18.